Hello everyone. In the previous class, we have learnt about microwave irradiation and sonication reactions as an alternative in the green chemical reactions. We went through lots of the reactions to understand how microwave irradiation and sonication reaction can be used in various reaction components so that we could avoid conventional synthesis for the system for conventional synthesis, and we can opt for green chemical processes. After that, after we have understood the in terms of what is the type of radiations or what is the type of alternative energy sources that you can utilize, the next concept would be how can we avoid toxic starting materials, and in this way how can we start choosing our starting material. The next concept would be choice of starting materials. In any synthesis of a target molecule, the starting materials are made to react with the reagent under appropriate conditions. This is how a synthesis is planned out. That is, we look at the starting material and then we look at the reagents and then we plan out the final product. And we also have to give an appropriate condition. It can be in terms of temperature, pressure, or it can be in terms of a mole to mole reaction. The method of choice should not use toxic starting materials and should eliminate byproducts and waste. So in green chemistry, what we try to look is we should not have any starting material which is toxic, and by the end of the synthesis of the products, there should not be any waste. If at all there would be waste, they should be either completely biodegradable wastes or they should be able to be utilized in a next reaction. For example, acetylene, when it reacts with formaldehyde, it is going to give me a dihydroxyacetylenic compound. Under the presence of hydrogen, the C triple bond C is reduced and we get a long chain system, which is a dihydroxy system. Now we can see as a long chain system as 1, 2, 3, 4. It is butane 1,4 butanol. Now when I look at this system, when I do the acid catalyzed dehydration, in this system, I just have to add a proton and it will remove a molecule of water, and then I will be able to cyclize this long chain system into a tetrahydrofuran. Now from this reaction, we can observe that whatever acetylene compound that I have utilized and formaldehyde that we have utilized, we are not going to get any type of byproducts in the first step. In the second step, it is just catalyzed in the presence of hydrogen so that there will be a reduction of the double bond in triple bond into a single bond system. Then further just making use of a drop of acid, when I do an acid catalyzed dehydration, I will be getting a tetrahydrofuran without any byproduct. So in this way, choice of a proper starting material which will not release any type of any type of byproducts or eliminate the byproducts would be important. Coming to a second example where cyclohexanol reacts with ammonium hydroxide hydrosulfate in the presence at 400 Kelvin, it is going to give me cyclohexanone oxime. The only problem with this would be a high temperature reaction, but I will not be getting any kind of byproducts. Once it is just heated in the presence of 20% oleum and heat, it is going to give me caprolactam. Now caprolactam is said to be a very useful starting material in various industry. Throughout this reaction, because we have chosen a proper starting material and a proper condition, we are not going to get any type of byproducts. In turn, we get a final compound which is said to be an important starting material in various industries. So this is how choice of a starting material influences in a green chemical reaction. One of the aspect is how do I choose the choice of reagents. That is how to have a choice of reagent which would be very important in a green chemical aspect. One of the example can be dimethyl carbonate. Now this particular reagent is utilized for the methylation system. Conventionally, methylation reactions they employ either methyl halides or dimethyl sulfate, that is CH3 twice SO4. Now these are not biodegradable and nor the reagents can give me a proper amount of yield. Instead of that, what green chemical processes that we can come through is methylate active methylene compounds selectively using dimethyl carbonate. Now dimethyl carbonate is this kind of a long chain ester type of diester type of system which is called as DMC, in which no inorganic salts are produced. What we can do here is, if there is a substituted benzyl cyanide in the presence of dimethyl carbonate and K2CO3, that is a base which is a very weak base, it will just abstract a proton from this benzyl cyanide and a methylation takes place through dimethyl carbonate. The byproducts are simple products like methanol and carbon dioxide. Looking at this, instead of making use of methyl halides which are non-biodegradable or methyl sulfate which is not giving me a proper yield, now I am avoiding these two reagents so that a direct methylation could be achieved. So this is one of the example in the choice of reagents, in the choice of a proper reagents for methylation process. In the same continuation of DMC, it is also going to act as an organic oxidant when cyclopentanone and cyclohexanone, either it can be cyclopentanone or cyclohexanone, they react with DMC in the presence of K2CO3, it is going to give me adipic acid as one of the product if I make use of cyclopentanone system, and if it is a cyclohexanone system, it is going to give me pimelic methyl ester. Either it will be adipic methyl esters or ethyl esters, or it will be pimelic methyl or ethyl esters dependent on this n is equal to 1 comma 2. So here in this particular system I am doing a ring opening reaction along with the oxidant. The dimethyl carbonate is acting as a complete oxidant in which I am going to get a diester type of system. Again, in this way, DMC is one of the reagent which is a proper green chemical reagent. Other than that, polymer supported per acids. Now, when I speak about per acid, we always look at H2O2 or it can be metachloro per benzoic acid. Such type of per acids have been utilized. H2O2 is not a per acid, but hydrogen peroxide is not a biodegradable system and in turn it is going to cause some pollution, whereas metachloroperbenzoic acid is having a harmful substituent like chlorine which is again not biodegradable. So instead of that, what we can do, we can make use of polymer supported per acids. Now these per acids are generally utilized for the epoxidation of alkenes. We require epoxidation to get oxirane systems like oxirane systems, and we also try to do epoxidation so that a three-membered ring, four-membered rings could be achieved. Now in this benzene per acid or benzoic per acid which is having a polymer support, when it reacts with alkene in the presence of tetrahydrofuran at just 40 degrees centigrade, I am able to get an epoxidation reaction across C double bond C to give me an oxirane system. In turn, the byproduct that I am going to get is polymer supported benzoic acid. Now, if I look at the final product, again I can synthesize a per acid and again it can be utilized in the next reaction process. In this way, per acids can be replaced, like non-biodegradable per acids can be replaced, and we can do such type of replacement through a polymer supported per acid systems. Very important system in the recent green chemical procedure or scenario would be biocatalysis. Instead of making use of a catalysis which are synthesized in the laboratory, can we not do a biocatalysis? So there should be some kind of definition to this biocatalysis. It is The use of natural substances that include enzymes from a biological source or whole cells to speed up the chemical reaction. That means we can get these enzymes from the natural resources and then we can speed up the chemical reactions. Now, one problem is biocatalyst engineering requires a rational design and directed evolution. That is, we need to design these biocatalysis in certain cells. Now they can be a bacterial cells where these catalysts can be designed, and then further they have to be evolved for a process, and then it can be utilized. What are these biocatalysts? They can be enzyme or hormone or any type of substances that may activate or speed up biochemical reaction. Now, generally, when we look at biochemical reaction, we can look like digestive systems like pepsin, trypsin, etc. Now, most of the biocatalysts that we look are proteins which are known as enzymes. As proteins, they are linear polypeptides composed of 20 alpha amino acids linked by peptide amide bonds. They range in the molecular weights from 8,000 to 1,50,000. We have seen all these amino acids and proteins in our previous semester, and then we have tried to synthesize them. But we can utilize these protein systems as biocatalysts also. Now, for example, D-phenylglycine amide. Now, this is phenylglycine amide. When it reacts with the 6-amino penicillinic acid in a catalyst like penicillin acylase, it is going to give me ampicillin. Ampicillin is an antibiotic. This antibiotic can be administered into a human body. Now, instead of doing a traditional conventional method, I am making use of the starting material, which is phenylglycine amide, which is a substituted type of amino acid, and I am making use of a catalyst, which is a biocatalyst, which is penicillin acylase. Now, there are many of these reactions where we can see the utilization of biocatalysts. Some of them I have enlisted here. There is a presence of an ester. In the presence of lipase enzyme, ester gets converted to carboxylic acid and an alcohol. Now, if I do the reverse of this reaction, in the presence of esterase enzyme, carboxylic acid reacts with an alcohol to give me an ester. There is a presence of amide, substituted amide, in an amidase biocatalyst. It gets converted to a carboxylic acid and a primary amine. In a reverse reaction, if I make use of a protease enzyme, this carboxylic acid will react with the primary amine to give me an amide system. Now, hydrolysis and reverse hydrolysis can be seen. We can see amide reaction. If there is a long chain hydrogen iodide, if I make use of a dehalogenase enzyme, I can kick out the halogen and we can introduce an OH. In the presence of RCN, that is a C triple bond N, if we make use of a nitrilase enzyme, they can be converted into an amide system, RCONH2. If we make use of nitrile hydratase, this nitrile group can be converted to a system which is carboxylic acid. So this way biocatalyst can be used. Oxidation reduction. If I make use in the presence of a ketone, ketoreductase, it gets converted to a secondary alcohol. When there is a presence of a carboxylic group or a dicarboxylic system, amino acid dehydrogenase is going to convert this ketocarboxylic acid into a amino carboxylic acid, or it can be called as an amino acid. So the biocatalyst that is going to convert this ketocarboxylic acid into an amino acid is amino acid dehydrogenase. Now again, this is a reversible type of reaction. If there is a presence of C double bond C, which is attached to a halogen, if we make use of a inoate reductase, C double bond C can be reduced to a C single bond C. Or C double bond C. If there is a presence of a biocatalyst like haloperoxidase, it gets converted to an oxirane. Now this is type of epoxidation reaction. If there is a presence of a secondary alcohol in the presence of oxidase enzyme, it gets converted to a ketone. If there is a presence of a secondary amine in the presence of oxidase enzyme, it gets converted to a secondary amine system. Sulfur containing groups like RSR dash. Now there is a sulfur containing group or a long chain system. If there is a presence of a biocatalyst like a monooxygenase, it gets converted to a sulfoxide system. Cyclohexanone, in the presence of cytochrome P450, it gets converted to cyclohexanone. Ketone, in the presence of transaminase reaction, it gets converted to a amine system. Now these are an example for oxidation reduction reaction. Coming to CC and CX bond forming reaction. Not only the type of hydrolysis or oxidation reduction reaction, we can also do CC and CX bond formation. When there is an aldehyde which reacts with the ketone in the presence of aldolase, we get beta hydroxy ketone. Now this is an example for an aldol synthesis where in a regular system or a conventional method we have to make use of lot of reagents. Here just in the presence of a biocatalyst I could convert it into a beta hydroxy ketone. Aldehyde in the presence of CN minus, that is a nitrile system, cyanohydrin lyase can be used so that I get hydroxy. I can just substitute or I can attack the CN minus onto a carbonyl group so that I get a cyanohydrin system. Here CN minus will attack onto the carbonyl carbon in the presence of cyanohydrin lyase to get me a hydroxycyanohydrin. In the presence of an aldehydic system and there is a long chain ketonic system, TDP dependent lyase can get converted into alpha hydroxy ketone system. That is, an alcoholic system is present over here. Now that can be completely converted into or can be completely oxidized into a ketonic system, giving me in the presence of TDP dependent lyase system, giving me alpha hydroxy ketone. There is a presence of C double bond C in the presence of lyase system. Either it can get converted to OH or it can get converted to NH2. In this way, we can see the utilization of various type of biocatalysts and then their applications in various reactions. So in this particular session, we have gone through choice of proper starting materials and the choice of reagents, how these reagents can affect our reactions and how biocatalysts can replace most of the reactions and there will be no byproducts in the complete synthesis which is going to take us away from the conventional method of synthesis, and this can be a path breaking way to enter through a green chemical system or a green chemical synthesis. Thank you.